All right, so we're going to go ahead and welcome to Scribble 101, Fundamentals of Scribbling. For those who may be in the wrong place, this is where you're supposed to be. Nope, it's correct. I'd like to introduce myself and my partner in crime. So Meredith Allen here, Head of Customer Success at Scribble. Very, very excited to be here as this is week 3 or 4 on the job. I'm new to the team and it's been a fantastic start. My other half that I could not do anything without is here as well. Karen, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Karen Kinjoshin. I've been with Scribble for just under a year, and I am a former educator, same as Meredith. So we're both excited to have you here and interacting with us, and we know you're going to love what you see today.
Awesome. Thank you. And Karen, just so you know, I can barely hear you. So I'm going to try to do my best with my facilitating, but just know that my audio is very sketchy right now. I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay.
All right. So we did some introductions. That's awesome. The agenda for today is we're going to quickly do a super high level. What is Scribble? This was intended as kind of a first touch webinar intended for people that might maybe know a little bit about Scribble, or it's been a long time since they've thought about it or talked about it, and they needed a little bit of a refresher for high level. Then we're going to do I'm going to pass over the mic at that point to Karen, and she's going to show us the demonstration side, some lessons from start to finish, and what you might need in your classroom or your school tomorrow to be successful. At the end, we'll have question and answer opportunity and maybe a time for a little bit of a playground sandbox time period, which hopefully you'll be able to get in and get your hands dirty with Scribble. The last couple of things are just fun. We've got Scribble Challenge for the fall. I'm going to pitch to you and then want to send you with a nice package of resources and supports that you will have at your disposal after today. All right, just before I have a great video that I'm going to share about Scribble here in a second, but before I do that, I just want to share these bullet points, which one of the co-founders, Victor, has shared with me, and I think that they resonate very well. And, more than half of our college kids are not ready for college writing. They just aren't. It's the statistics show it, the narrative shows it, and it's because research and research writing is very, very hard to do. It's hard to do, it's hard to teach, and more importantly, it's hard to track. So, all of those things together make it pretty impossible to empower students by the time they leave high school for college writing. When you get into that space, it's very process intensive because there's a lot of moving parts and pieces. They often, teachers and students together will use several different applications and kind of cobble it together. They'll use, Google Docs, or they'll use this and they'll use that. And then it's kind of all over the place. And there's not like a one-stop shop to have all of that information in one place for the curation and the annotation and all of those steps. So with all of that, it becomes impossible to organize. I know from personal experience, if I can't have things in a one place to be able to access it, it's a recipe for a disaster. And as a teacher, I did not tell you that my past experience was 11 years in the classroom. So as a teacher, I also can resonate with that as well. It's super hard for educators to access that student work in that case, and also just be able to assess it, because we want to also know how our students are doing through the journey. This is just a quick visual to kind of see, okay, these are 6 pieces, and there's more pieces to research and research writing than these, but these are 6 pretty important ones that we tend to assess and teach in our classrooms. And they're kind of, like I said, all over the place, but we want them to be all in one place. And that's kind of where the heart of Scribble is that we wanted to empower the teachers and the students to be able to have that one spot, to the one place to kind of organize and facilitate the teaching and learning in the research process or the research writing process. That's all to say, I'm still week 3 of trying to explain it in a good way. This video is way more better than what I just said. So we'll go ahead and start this quick video. I hope you can hear it. Karen, when I start it, give me a thumbs up or down on volume, please, because it's being funky.
Until now, students have had to use multiple separate tools for their research and writing work, making it time-consuming, frustrating, and hard to stay organized throughout the process. Scribble unites this disjointed workflow by bringing everything together under one roof. It's a super app for students, educators, and librarians to curate, annotate, cite, and write. With Scribble, curating information is easy. Scribble saves web pages, PDFs, and database articles instantly to a cloud-based library with just a click of the Scribble Chrome extension. You can also add files like PDFs from your desktop and Google Drive. You can richly annotate articles directly in the browser and even collaboratively annotate with others in real time. Citations are generated automagically. Scribble pulls citation information from articles and books and instantly displays the properly formatted citation. The Scribble library stores a wide variety of file and information formats. Stay organized by using full text search and tags to find articles. Scribble also empowers the writing process. Quickly generate an outline by dragging and dropping quotes and comments from your Scribble library. In Google Docs, the Scribble add-on allows you to access your library so you can easily insert your outline and bring your evidence, comments, and citations into the paper while automatically updating your bibliography. Scribble is deeply integrated with Google for Education, including roster sync and assignment integration with Google Classroom. Scribble also offers rich analytics for tracking student progress in real time. Quickly see which students are struggling and where they're stuck. Scribble centralizes student work, making it accessible in one place and enabling educators to easily provide timely feedback throughout the entire process. For students, Scribble frees up valuable time wasted on manual and mundane tasks for higher level learning, like reading critically for quality.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Oh my gosh. Let's do the last 30 seconds.
Feedback throughout the entire process. For students, Scribble frees up valuable time wasted on manual and mundane tasks for higher level learning, like reading critically for quality evidence and crafting strong arguments. For educators, Scribble enables personalized instruction for close reading, research, and writing. Sign up for a free account today and see what Scribble can do for you.
Okay, sorry about that little blip there.
Until now.
All right. That being said, like I said, explained it way better than what I had done. I'm going to pass over to Karen, who has been in the Scribble world much longer than I and is much better well-versed than I. And while she does that, I'm going to go look for some headphones because I want to be able to hear this webinar.
Okay.
Karen,
All right.
go ahead and take
while she's doing that, let me just let you know that we have created in here some videos and GIFs for you that you can go back and revisit. We will be sending out a recording of this whole webinar, and we will include the presentation deck for that as well. So you'll be able to go back through this at your leisure. That being said, if you have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat, or we will be having a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So keep your questions ready to go, and we're ready to dive in. Is everybody ready? Okay. And Meredith is going to hit play. There we go. All right, so the first thing you probably want to know is how to create an assignment. So let's take a look at that. If you go to the Assignments tab in the top navigation bar, you can click Create an Assignment. Here you'll see there are 3 tabs at the top, and you'll have to complete each of those. You can enter your title, enter the instructions. The instructions can be as detailed or as limited as you would like. Enter your due date and your close date, just like with any other assignment creation software. And we have an individual setting that we're going to work with today. You can choose students in your class or section, or you can use an assignment link to send an invite to your students. So the code and the URL will appear once you assign the assignment, and then you can send out an invite. But most of you are working with an LMS system, so we're going to choose the option for syncing. Here on the options and requirements, you'll want to fill in as much of this as possible so that you can track the data. Set your sources, your number of sources, and if you have created some sources that you want to share with your students, you can include them here. As you see, you can see that I've indicated, I've compiled some, instructions on how to write a research paper and the CRAP test and all of those things that students may need to refer to. So once I've done that, I can create an annotation key. Now the annotation key is great because you can set a color for all of the different things that you want to do and have that be consistent across all of your students. This is an optional thing, but I think it's very useful, especially for new students or students who are new to the writing process or younger. So this is great. And that way you can see it across the board. Now let's go to the bibliography tab. And here you can set the citation style. We have some new things coming with that, so that's very exciting. Most students in the middle school and high school level are going to use MLA 9. I would not recommend allowing your students to choose the citation style. And here again, all of these checkboxes are going to be data that's generated later on the report that you're going to see. So choose the sources, and now we can say whether we want to have students create an outline or not. Again, this is an optional thing. And then you can also set co-teachers. So many students have 504 plans or an IEP, and they may have a para-professional or someone. You can add that person here. Now what you'll see is that this is all created and you can click assign. One thing that you want to note is that once you have assigned the activity, you cannot go back and edit it and have it catch up. So you want to make sure that you do all of your front loading at the beginning and make sure that you have all of the information that you want to create. You can adjust the instructions and things, but you can't adjust the data items that are then featured later. All right, everybody good so far? I know that went pretty quickly, but as I said, you are going to get a copy of this presentation so that you can view this over again. So now let's take a look at, once I've created the assignment, how do I view the assignments that I've created? So we'll move into this. Meredith, can you hit the next one? There we go. So again, you're on the assignments tab on the navigation bar, and you can look at the 3 types of assignments: active, draft, and completed. Anything with a red button has already closed, anything or is a draft, and anything with a green button is a live assignment. So let's take a look now at the next screen. So once we've done that, how do we track the student's progress on the assignment? So we're going to take a look at the same area. We're still living on assignments land on the navigation bar. All right. So here we're on the assignments tab. I've chosen one of the green assignments, and what you will see as an educator is at the top of the screen, you'll see the overview of the student progress. Green indicates things that are on track. Red indicates things that are not on track. And you can see that each one of those charts is one of the points that you chose. Here is below the student level. So each individual student, you can then see their activities. Would you hit play on that again, Meredith? I'm sorry. So let's just clear that up again. So again, the assignments are here. When it gets to the student level at the bottom, you'll see that each student is listed individually, and you'll see the data points for their individual assignment here in just a second. You'll see all of the different types of sources that they've cited, whether or not they're on track or off track. And each of these data points shows you exactly what type of source they have collected. All right. Are we clear so far? I know I'm going pretty quickly, but again, you're going to get this information later. All right, let's move on to the next part now, which is once you have seen the assignment, now let's review what each student is doing individually. So again, from that same assignment tab, and in that same window where you were viewing the data, we're going to look at an individual student's activity. So we're ready to hit play. Okay, let's take a look at Sandy's student and see what her progress is like. Oop, we got a little problem with the loading. There we go. So we're looking at Sandy's information. If I click on Sandy's name, then what that does is takes me into her individual view. I can look at all of her sources, all of her annotations, her bibliography page, if she did an outline or not, and then I can even view her paper. I can view her paper within the context of this view, or I can pop it out, look at it individually, or I can maximize it on the screen. You can also check her individual metrics out here on a little bit of a more zoomed in scope. So you can see the kind of sources that she has collected. You can see where she got those from, if they're from the open web. And then let's take a look at this view. This is her student view. So this is what she sees when she's looking at Scribble. And I know I'm in the student view because of the orange glow. In order to get back into the teacher view, you use the breadcrumb bar and just go back one step. So now we're back at the teacher view. And if I want to look at the next student, I just go to the left and toggle through the sources. All right, or toggle through the students. And I can look at each student individually that way, which makes it great when you're doing grading. All right, we're ready to move on to the next part. So let's say Sandy's doing a good job, but we want to make some, maybe she's collecting sources that she shouldn't, or she's collecting sources from a place that is unreliable or doesn't pass the CRAP test. So we want to provide some feedback on that assignment. Or if she is in the red line and she hasn't, it's due in 2 days and she hasn't started researching, this is where we can reach out to her and speak or give her feedback directly. All right. So again, you click on the student and you see on the right-hand side of the screen, we have the feedback. You can expand and look at all of the messages. So you can see here, she didn't pass the CRAP test on some of her sources, and then she fixed it and I said, nice work. Now you'll see on your assignments tab an envelope indicator when you have open messages. And next to each of the assignments, you'll see a black envelope for any place where there is a message for you. And you'll also see that underneath the student view, you'll see which students have responded to you or are asking for assistance. Okay. All right. Any questions so far?
So far, it looks
Everybody's
like
so quiet.
okay. Karen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
Awesome. I can now. I ran
Yay!
as you were doing that. I bolted down 2 sets of stairs to go get some headphones. So
Oh my
we're good now.
goodness.
Yep. Thank you for your patience, and you are amazing. You're just a pro at this. I love it.
Thank you.
All right. So if you have any questions or they pop up through the next few minutes, please drop them in the chat and we'll talk about that. But or just pipe up. We've got the microphones enabled for everyone, but we would encourage you at this point to, if you haven't already signed up at Scribble, sign up for an account, log in, and then start asking questions. Like, did any of that resonate with you? Did it seem clear? Did anything seem unclear? I'll go ahead and stop talking for a second so you have a chance to type if that's the mode that you prefer.
So how many of you have used Scribble already? If you've used Scribble already, can you put an emoji on your screen and respond? One of the reacts. Oh, hey, good job, Sherry. Thank you for being a Scribble educator.
Jeremy, you're in for a treat.
Yes, students can use iPads. That's one of our latest features that came out right before I began in December. So yes, we do have iPad Scribble support, and there is special instructions for that. And we'll make a note of that and include that in the materials that we send out to you. It's slightly different. The usage is just a little bit different because the iPad is obviously a smaller screen, so there are a couple of little tweaks that you have to do, but it still functions very, very well on the iPad. That's a great question. Thank you.
I think I missed that question, Karen. Is it coming through on the chat or?
It was in the chat, yes.
Okay.
And look who just popped in. This
What do we
is
have?
the founder
Yay.
of Scribble. So this was his brainchild and his baby. So the citations are generated automatically. We have it. Well, Victor, you might be able to answer that a little bit better since you are the creator of this. I would hate to misspeak on that technical aspect.
So the question is, how are the citations generated?
Mm-hmm.
So the very short answer is that we use a set of rules based on sort of a library that we have that sort of explains to us what format to apply to all the citation information. So that's kind of what happens under the hood. But it's common. A lot of citation tools kind of use this approach. And so we're able to take information that we pull off of a web page or from a PDF and put that into that format.
Now, the best part about this is that obviously whenever something is automatically creating citations or generating citations, it behooves the user to double check that. And so we do have the option to edit those citations and on the fly for each additional citation, or to drag in the RIS information as well. The DOI will also help that with the citations. So would anyone like to see the toolbar live? Let's take a look at that.
I would.
Okay, let me.
Something that, well, she gets that up. I can kind of cue it up a bit. A lot of the demo and the that Karen provided just a minute ago was more about the administration, the assignment creation. But she's going to put on a little bit of a student hat now in regards to going on and using the extension, which we call our toolbar, and annotating and maybe commenting on a web page, which I think is kind of like the creme de la creme of Scribble.
Yes. Bear with me, I got a timeout. There we go. All right, so let me share my screen.
I'll stop sharing for a second.
Okay. All right, so this is what Scribble looks like, Scribble Live. And if I wanted to go out and find a source, I could, let's say, I'm looking for, I'm just going to use the internet and say, let's see. I want to avoid Wikipedia, so I'm going to go to the National Geographic Society and pull up this. And I have my little tool here, the extension bar, and in the toolbar. So we can, or I'm sorry, in the browser. So I click on that and you see that the toolbar loads on top of the active page. So, and you'll see that this is going to tell you which library you're saving to. Teachers will get their own library. Then they also have class libraries. And when they create assignments, it creates assignment libraries for the students. So I want to save this to my library now. I can always move it later if I need to. So Here, I can look at this information, look at the pictures, and if I want to comment on something, I can do it a couple of different ways. I can click and drag and then select my highlighter from all of these options. And if I had an annotation key created already for an assignment, that would show up here. But I'm just going to make this one pink because I like pink. All right. And then if I wanted to, I can then come over here and add a comment to this. Oops, sorry, I did it too quickly. Where'd it go? There it is. It doesn't want to let me click. Let's try it again. I'm not sure why I'm having this issue. Let me delete that comment and try again.
You gotta love live demos, right? That's always the case.
Yeah.
The tech doesn't work. Like the beginning of this webinar, I
There
had
we
no sound.
go. Come on. It's being squirrely. This is a me problem, not a Scribble problem. There.
But I think what's awesome about this is that it shows the collaboration capabilities, because if this is a group assignment, this is something that you can have a conversation with your group members, or the teacher and the student can have a conversation about said resource on the page, challenge it or encourage them or whatever the case may be. I think of this as like the Google Doc version of research writing live on a website or overlaid on a website.
So you can see the comment was added. This would be a great quote for the introduction. So later on, when I'm either working on my outline or working on my paper, I can pull these comments in, drag them directly into the outline, or I can just use them as a frame of reference. I can also, in this version, I can do things like underline. And you can see I now have an underline. If I wanted to, I could also change the text color here so that it's a little more visible for us. Another great feature that we have that wasn't in the presentation, but a lot of people need accessibility options. So we do have this accessibility tool that will read the text out loud.
A volcano is an opening in a planet or moon's crust through which molten rock, hot gases, and other materials erupt. Volcanoes often form a hill or mountain.
So you can see how that would be useful for some of your students who may need that. If you've got a student with dyslexia, or if you have a student who maybe it's English as a second language, they can listen to it, and they can also have other options. They can translate it from English into their own language, or if the original paper was in another language, they could translate it into English. All right. Always, if you're here and you need help, click on this and we will get back with you within 24 hours. And another good thing to note is the green check mark always lets you know that this version of the page is saved into your library. All right. Any questions still?
We have a question that says, how do you create an in-text citation when a student is giving attribution credit?
Okay, that's a really good question. The in-text citation is automatically generated as a part of the general citation. So when you are, let me go back over here. So you can see I have this indicated in my library. So let's go back to the app proper, or the website proper, not the toolbar page. So let me go back over here to my library, and you can see here it generated this this indication right here. So here I can see the citation. I can edit the citation here, or I can open the source. Oops,
And
sorry.
this is where my mind blows. Like, I am just like so excited about the fact that you're on a website, you can scribble it all up, and then it's all in one spot. Like, I just think that that's magic.
Okay, browse the annotations. Here we go. So you can see all of the annotations that I've made. It shows you everything. And then if I went to the bibliography, I could add this to the bibliography simply by clicking the plus sign. Now that's on my bibliography. And the in-text citation would also be here. Oop, it didn't pull it. Or I can't see it. Wait, let me move I know what it is. My Zoom things are in the way. So here you have a citation that you can click and copy. And I'm not seeing the in-text citation here. Help me out.
It's down at the bottom. You just can't see it.
Oh,
I can
okay.
I can almost see it. It's just cut off a little bit. So
There you
it's
go.
underneath the style MLA9.
Yes.
Yep.
There you go. You're right. Thank you. So that when you copy that citation, I was covered by my Zoom toolbar. Sorry.
No worries.
All right. Did that answer your question? Also, how do you create an in-text citation? Okay.
Can I
We also
interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
So just to be clear, in in-text citation, if I want to try to understand Tina's question a little bit, Tina, you probably mean what appears in parentheses in a document, right? Is that what you're talking about? So oftentimes when people use the word in-text citation, they're talking about, yeah. So when you use our Google Docs add-on and you bring a quote from Scribble into the document that's being written, that quote will have an in-text parenthetical citation that will come with it into the document. So you're not actually seeing that parenthetical in-text citation anywhere here right now because we're not actually bringing a quote, for example, directly into a Google Doc, but that would happen when you're actually using Scribble with a Google Doc. The other place that you can kind of see it is, Karen, if you were to go to the outline tab, right there, you sort of see that in italics after. Yeah, I don't know if that was actually a quote that was added, but if you were to bring over like something that was highlighted, something like if you bring in an annotation in from the left-hand side from your library, in one of those, if you were to click on that little right arrow next to volcanoes, click on that, and then like take that pink highlighted text and drag it into the right-hand side. Yeah, when you let go of that,
there it is.
See that in-text parenthetical citation at the end. That is what would come into the outline. That is also what would follow this quote into the Google Doc if you're writing a paper and using our Google Docs add-on to bring quotes or the whole outline, for example, into the Google Doc. So, yeah, Tina, does that help? Okay.
Thank you. That's why Victor knows all of that stuff better. I'm still learning about. It's such a great tool, but there's still some things that I'm still learning about. So, I appreciate the questions and the ability to learn more.
Yeah, and I think
that is awesome.
I think that Karen and I both are of the school that if we can't answer it here, we will make sure we get the answer and follow up with you as soon as possible.
100%.
And that kind of leads me, unless there's more questions, we can definitely answer a couple more questions, but I have a little bit of a challenge I'd like to pose to you all to take back. I don't see, and that's my daughter, sorry, coming home from school. So I'm going to share my screen back to the presentation. And let's see. One thing that I think, can you see my screen? Are we good? Yep. Okay, cool. I love a back to school challenge. And I think students also kind of like the word challenge. Some do, some don't probably, but this could be something fun. I would challenge you and your students to create an assignment in Scribble, share it with your students, and really just watch the magic roll in. And the best thing is having your kids or your students teach you about Scribble. I think that's the best is when they come up to you and you're like, did you know it does this? Or did you know it does this thing over here? And I think the students are really the best teachers in these cases. So that's my challenge, is just to dive in, not knowing all of the ins and outs, because I work for Scribble and I definitely don't know all the ins and outs yet. And so I just say, let's have the kids teach us. They're going to be the future of our society anyway. So let's get them in there working for us. So if you feel so comfortable and you want to share it on social, we're in various channels there. This deck will be, I'm not sure if Karen mentioned this at the beginning, but this deck will be shared at the at the end of the webinar, and these are all linked, and you'll have all of the resources that you need here. Tag us. We decided to use the hashtag Scribble Savvy, and you'll have a chance to win some swag, which is always super fun. We're putting a deadline as October 15th, so you've got some time to really dive in. Obviously, just holler if you have any questions during that time. Then I would last leave you with, this is kind of my favorite. As a teacher, this would be my favorite slide, because this is the toolbox after you leave us today, your stop for resources. So like back in district, when you are Clark Kent and Superman all at the same time, you have all of your guides here to help you and empower you to try out Scribble in the classroom. So we've got our getting started guides, which we found a lot of success with teachers. Help with installing the extension. We talked a little bit about that today, but we didn't dive into how to do that. So that's a good spot to stop if you haven't installed the extension yet, and then pin it to your to your browser. We have our support center, which is a very robust compilation of support articles that Karen and the team have curated and created, and it's you search for one thing and you get 10 answers, which is awesome. Like, it's super great. Yesterday, her and I went together and kind of combed through the ones that are frequently asked, and we compiled a doc there under the facts. So that's also a good spot to check if you had a question. And then the last two are just kind of like housekeeping things. If you're interested in upgrading to the EDU Pro, there's the quote information, and then our team is quite speedy on responses if there's feedback or an issue, or you just have a question. So the contact form is linked there as well. So those are our supports and resources once we leave you today. And obviously, our emails are in the first slide. So also we're welcome just a personal email to us if you have any questions.
And the email I'll be sending out to you tomorrow with the video and the video recording and all of the links and information that we've shared today. In the signature of my email signature, that was confusing, we'll have lots of different places where you can connect with me if you wanted to have a one-on-one explanation or work together on something. We have open office hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at rotating times. So you can sign up for open office hours, private one-to-one meeting, or even a group meeting. So we're always here to help. Anything that you need, we'd love to be able to facilitate that for you.
Awesome. Are there any other questions in the chat? I don't see them. Do you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, I will leave you with, that's all, folks. I'm not going to do the voice. Sorry.
Oh, somebody did ask about upper elementary. We have some schools
What's
that are
the question, Karen? Sorry.
I'm sorry. The question was about how prevalent is Scribble, the use of Scribble in upper elementary context. We are expanding that all of the time. Currently, you can use it with elementary schools, especially if you want like upper elementary, 5th grade, 4th grade. But we are expanding into an elementary market as well. So there are some expansion things and plans in the development for making it more accessible for elementary school. But Tina, if you would, I'm sorry, not Tina. Yes, Tina. If you would like to reach out to me and work with me privately, I can show you how to use that with the elementary school, doing like a close reading or something like that. And are there individual accounts available for students, particularly college? Yes, we do have individual accounts. And what happens is if you have students that are using Scribble now in middle school or high school, they can then take their current Scribble account and change their email address and continue to use Scribble in the higher education. And you can, I mean, they have the option to pay for a different level of plan at the higher ed structure. Does that answer your question, Tina?
Yeah,
okay,
that's
great.
awesome, Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
I think that the nice thing is that Scribble works with you. whatever your
Mhm.
situation, we will work with you. And I think it's been a true testament over the years for Victor and Andy and Karen and the team. The Scribble team has been awesome about bending to what you need, basically. We'll work with you. All right, so look for a magic email that has all of the great resources that we've talked about today. The recording will be on there, the slides, and anything and everything will be included in that follow-up. It should come out tomorrow morning at the latest. And it's been great meeting with you. This was our first run through as teammates as the fall back to school. So you had a lot of firsts, and I appreciate your flexibility with that, but it's been awesome, and I wish you the best.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.